I am here, early birds. I am totally out of breath already. Like, hurrying up and getting here and getting this all set up for you, even though it's a half an hour later than normal. Hope you're with me still. I'll show you something fun that I made if you didn't see my 2-minute shorts, which are 4 minutes, and there was no reason for me to do 4 minutes on this. There absolutely was no reason for me to do 4 minutes on it, but I just thought it was fun and cool. So I made a second one. So here was the first one I did. These are from milk jugs, right? It's the pull tab that you pull out of the milk carton, not milk jugs, milk cartons. And I use these now to cover up my, now I heard the whole screen is capturing everything. So I don't know. I actually cover up my screens now. My husband told me that a long time ago. And now with all the strange stuff, I believe it. They're capturing everything. But if I do want to cover up that video camera, look at what I made. I made this from the pull tab, right? Peace, baby. Peace. And then I did another pull tab and it was a different, watch, see? Look at that. Look at that. Completely covers it up. And it just hangs on there. It's the perfect size. It hangs. The only thing is I walk around with it all the time. And then I made a second one because I had another carton. And this one, look at, ooh, a spaceship. Now, I am totally not into space things at all. I can't even believe I would ever make a spaceship ever in my life. But I looked at it and I'm like, that looks like a spaceship, doesn't it? There we go. There we go. Look at it. Good morning, early birds. Guess what we're doing? Punctuation. If you were to punctuate that, what would you use? Punctuation. You know it's an interjection, don't you? And interjections have strong feelings. Interjection followed by an exclamation point or by a comma when the feeling's not as strong. Remember? So when you're happy, hooray! Or sad, ah. Or frightened, eek! Or mad, rats! Or excited, wow! I don't know. I keep using the same emotions. Anyway, let's get to our punctuation, shall we? Look at what I did for our classroom blackboard. I changed our blackboard to match Happy Halloween. Oh my gosh, I'm not even dressed up. Oh, Okay, well, we'll resolve that right now. Did you think I was going to come on dressed up? I know. All right, so we're doing punctuation, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Punctuation, these are marks or signs that make reading, writing, and communicating easier. Now, of course, we use punctuation in our reading and our writing. I told you I was going to have it. Look it. This is like Raggedy Ann. I should put it like this. There we go. So I get the bang effect. So I get the big bang effect. I always hear Rhonda's voice. Every single time I look silly, I hear Rhonda's voice. Was that Ken here, Rhonda? Seriously, trying to get my house? Oh my gosh. Oh, who is the enemy? Who is my friend? And who is my foe? Ah! Didn't think I'd have my hair all pulled up like this. Okay, so let's get going over here. Punctuation. So let's look at different marks or signs. So of course we do this, but even in our talking, we use pauses like commas, like I just did just now. But even in our talking, we use punctuation. I don't know why I've got that white there. I don't like that. We don't use punctuation in our talking. I'm kind of talking off the top of my head right now. Talking out my ponytails right now. We don't really use them in talking, but you can indicate when there's a complete stop when you're talking, a period, right? Or indicate when there's a pause, right? So let's keep going. Now, I wanted to put this slide up here because I wanted you to remember things about mood. Punctuation allows us to help understand other people's moods as well, right? So this is indicative. So this is like a declarative or a statement. The plants are growing this year. Imperative, that's like an interjection or an exclamation. Do it. Subjunctive has a little bit more to do with our feelings, our inner desires more so. So that doesn't really have anything to do with punctuation at all. A period. Now this is probably the one that you're most familiar with, but let's better understand our definitions, right? We use it at the end of a sentence that tells or states something. We call this a declarative sentence. It is a declarative sentence. It states something. Ice cream is my favorite dessert. So all I'm doing here is just making a statement. Of course, Dr. Feravich is always trying to make a statement. You should know this by now. So, if you didn't see yesterday, I did some Halloween engagement. So, getting engaged in Halloween, and I had these wonderful decorations. Did you see them? You should have. Oops. Okay. Oh, I should have put my... Oh, there we go. You know, there are all these little things that really do help you decorate for Halloween. A little bit more for Halloween, right? So we are learning punctuation. How boring for Halloween, but I'm making it a little bit fun, right? Hopefully I'm making it a little bit fun. But if you were to be a witch, one of the things I did when I was a witch is I painted my face all green and I put on my it was so funny. It was so ugly. My kids wouldn't even use the costume. They wouldn't use the rat because I had a big rat on it too. And spiders and all kinds of things that really juice up your costumes. All right. But we're here to also learn. We are here to learn something online. All right, get going. I'm so mad that stupid thing has got, I mean, it's just a silly thing. Why do I have that white? Oh my goodness gracious. I know I have the white because that's what I captured. Well, hopefully it makes it not a copyright infringement. A question mark is used at the end of a sentence that asks something. We call that an interrogative sentence. An interrogative sentence. Do you know how many stops are in interrogative? Interrogative. Interrogative. 5 stops. Really have to get this to not be like, you know what I'm going to do is take my hair out. So every time I put a new thing in it, I don't look bald. How's that? Better. Okay. So interrogative. If I'm asking you, where are the dishes? Can I have a candy bar for dessert? Can you turn on the lights, please? Are you hungry today? Where will you go on vacation? Do you think I need glasses? Does this make me look fat? All those are questions, and they are interrogative sentences. And those interrogative sentences, we end with a question mark. I should have a big question mark there, shouldn't I? I should. I think I'm going to. It was pretty easy. That was pretty easy for me to add. Yay. So interrogative sentences end with a question mark. All right, let's move on. The other one was what? A period. I wonder if I have that too. No, I do not. As far as I can see. I don't know. Moving on. An exclamation point. An exclamation point is used at the end of a sentence that expresses a strong feeling. Now, the grammatical part of speech, it is called an interjection, right? But the sentence is called an exclamatory sentence, and exclamatory sentences end with exclamation points. Can you please quiet down? Can you please quiet down? Now that's a question too, isn't it? It's a question. However, because I'm really demanding, I'm not really asking, can you please quiet down? I'm demanding it, right? Can you please quiet down? Apparently, it's rather difficult for me to do, right? Okay, let's move on. A comma. A comma is a mark used to signal slow down or pause. So you want to slow down in your sentence or pause in your sentence. Let me see. I don't think I have a comma. Hold on. Woo! I think this hat is a little dusty for me. So there's our comma, right? Maybe I'll change it. No, I like that white. We'll turn it to yellow. There's our comma. So the comma slows down. And this is something that I think that you can hear in our speech patterns as well. I think you can hear when people pause and then continue on with their sentence, just like you heard me pause right there, right? So let's see some other ways that we also use commas. Use a comma to separate items in a series. Can you please pick up some tomatoes, broccoli, pasta, and some milk? Now notice that I've got a comma after tomatoes and I have a comma after broccoli, but I do not have a comma after pasta. That's up to you. That's up to you whether or not you want to put a comma before the and after the last word in a series before the and. That's up to you if you want to put a comma there. I choose not to put a comma there, and I'll tell you why I choose not to. Because most publishers are looking to reduce the number of characters so that they can get the number of pages down in their books so it's not so expensive printing your book, okay? And so they count every character. So a comma is a character. So I take so if I went to a publisher, I might have to take all those commas out. If I went to a publisher with all of my, books that I have, all of my scripts and books, and who even knows what else I've got going on, all right up there. Uh-oh, it's getting out. Ah! Use a comma to separate two independent, and actually that shouldn't be independent sentences. That should be independent clauses. So I'm going to change that. Remember when we were talking about and they have a subject and they have a verb. So that's the reason why I called it sentences, but that's not accurate. They really are not independent sentences. They actually are independent clauses. And as you can see, I get those things changed when I see those mistakes there. So two independent clauses. A clause has a subject and a verb. However, when it's independent, it doesn't need anything else to finish the sentence. For example, when I say something like, when I was young, right? I is the subject, was is the verb. When I was young, but you need more information. That clause is a part of a sentence that is dependent on more information. That's a dependent clause, when I was young. But an independent clause, I was young 20 years ago. Sort of. I would put a comma. I was young 20 years ago, right? So that's an independent. I don't need any other information. I was young 20 years ago. When I was young, what? What when you were young, right? I was young 20 years ago. You don't need any other information. And then I said, sort of. That's an extra phrase that you don't need. I don't actually have a slide for that, so that's why I want to bring that up. Sort of. In order to separate an extra phrase that is unnecessary, you also separate it with a comma. I was young 20 years ago, comma, sort of. I'll show you another example coming up. So, I was taking classes for med school, but then I realized I liked psychology better. That should be I liked. Two mistakes on this stupid one. So here you could see that we've got two independent sentences that's joined by a what? Do you remember? What is it joined by? Those two independent sentences. What are they joined by? Now, I want you to, see, I changed that again. I want you to look at that for a second and think about the grammar that we are using. So, independent sentences, they stand alone. It's joined by a what? So, where are the two independent sentences? I was taking classes for med school. Then I realized I liked psychology better. Joined by a what? Joined by a conjunction. Do you remember? Do you remember our conjunctions? Remember our conjunctions? So when a conjunction, and we talked about this once before as well, when we have a conjunction that joins two independent sentences, a sentence that has a subject and a verb, or a clause. It's a clause, right? Two independent clauses. See, I always say that. Because it has a subject and a verb. Two independent clauses. So the two independent clauses are like sentences that can stand alone, but they're clauses. So stop calling them sentences, Dr. Feravich. I was taking classes for med school. That can stand all by itself. Then I realized I like psychology better. That could stand all by itself as well. Our conjunction is but. Our conjunction is but. If the second clause was not fully independent, the man had ice cream, candy, and popcorn for sale. And before that, and it's a series, you do not need, although it's a series, you do not need the comma, right? So there are times we use conjunctions when we are not connecting two independent clauses. So when we use a conjunction, when we are not connecting two independent clauses, like in a series, we don't need a comma before that independent or before that conjunction. Get it? So here's another example. We went skating earlier in the day and then slept. There's no subject there after the and then slept. It's assumed, but there's not, right? So we don't need a comma. We only need a comma before a conjunction when it's connecting two independent clauses. It's one of those details about commas that go to show you really know what you're talking about with English grammar or when you're writing. It's not a hard one to memorize. It's not a detail that's hard to remember, right? You just look as you're writing. It might be hard for me to think of right now, right? Let's see here. A comma is used when we have two independent clauses, but not dependent clauses. There you have it. Right? We don't need a comma before that conjunction but. We use a comma when we have two independent clauses, but not dependent clauses. Now, you can use a comma there if you want it for understanding, but I've always been a minimalist with commas. So I'm not a person who's like, comma, comma, comma. I use a comma if I know I'm supposed to use a comma. If I'm not sure, I leave it out, or I learn the rule first. If I think I'm supposed to use a comma, but I'm not sure because I don't know the rules, learn the rules first, And then don't use commas when there isn't a rule to use a comma. Okay? Use a comma when you use the name of a person you're speaking to. Alice, can you hand me the sauce? Alice is a little saucy, and Alice hogs the sauce. So I had to ask Alice for the sauce. Alice, can you hand me the sauce, please? And stop hogging the sauce. So see how we have Alice set off there? The name is set off. Use a comma after yes, no, oh, and well at the beginning of a sentence. Well, I wish you would have told me that earlier. Well, I wish you would have told me that earlier. So again, you could set those off at the beginning of a sentence. You could set those off at the end of a sentence. Some unnecessary words, right, that can be set off at the end of a sentence. I was running to the store too. It's not like also, right? I was running all over the place. I was running to the store too. That would be a comma too, all right? So you'd put a comma before that too, that T-O-O. So setting off those unnecessary words is really what we're talking about there. A comma separates a noun that further names or describes. Tom, who was a bodybuilder when he was young, has really gotten out of shape. The main part of that sentence is Tom has really gotten out of shape, right? So we set off this unnecessary clause or noun or phrase. I should say noun or phrase. So it could be Tom, director, has gotten a chance, right? So that's a noun that's separating a further descriptor, right? So you know what I'm doing. Changing that slide. A noun or phrase. A comma separates a noun or phrase that further names or describes, right? So we might have Tom, director, has really gotten out of shape, right? So that would be just a noun separating that further describes Tom, but it could be a whole phrase like we have there, right? Tom, who was a bodybuilder when he was young, has really gotten out of shape. Okay. A comma is used to separate the day from the year. I've got the day and the date, right? So Tuesday, it separates the day from the date and the date from the year. All right, I'm going to leave it like that. So today is Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. Okay? All right. A comma is used to separate the city from its state. Detroit, Michigan, for example. Kalamazoo, Michigan. Tallahassee, Florida. Now all of a sudden I can't think of a city in this whole country. Denver, Colorado. Annapolis, Maine. I think that's in Maine, right? Isn't that the capital? Use a comma before a direct quote. Oh, I have no example there. Oh, yes, I do. On the quotation marks. So here, Quotation marks used to indicate someone's exact words. Put punctuation inside the quotation marks. Notice the comma comes before the quotation marks, right? So here, use a comma before a direct quote. Here's the direct quote. Peter is a smart boy and he is kind of cute. That's a direct quote that needs quotation marks. So let's go and put up our quotation marks. Our new text is going to be quotes. And clearly we are putting those quotation marks. Apparently I don't need them that big. Before and after what we are directly restating. So if we, for example, have something from a book and we are quoting someone from a book, we would have those quotation marks before and after the statement that's a direct quote. So here that's a direct quote. Peter is a smart boy and he is kind of cute too. That's what Jenny was heard saying. It's exactly what Jenny was heard saying, the exact words. So around Jenny's exact words, we put those quotation marks. Notice also that I have the word to there at the end of that sentence. That's another example of where we have a word that is not necessary. That is set off like the other ones that we had there that were well. Yes. No. Oh, that's at the beginning of the sentence, but sometimes we can even put oh at the end of the sentence, can't we? And that would be set off with a comma. So, Tracy looked down and said, oh. We would set that off with a comma, just like we do too, all right? And you'd probably put that in quotation marks as well. Notice also we have a comma, like we said, before the direct quote, after saying. So Jenny was heard saying, comma, quote, Peter is a smart boy, comma, because that's an independent clause, and that's a conjunction. He is kind of cute. That's another independent clause. To is an extra. It is separated by a comma, and we end the sentence with the period first and then the end of the quotes. Put the punctuation inside the quotes. Period and then the quotes. There are some exceptions to that rule, okay? And that is if you're quoting something like, she said it was rather large. The sentence isn't a quote. What you're emphasizing is rather large. Rather large. Don't ask me why I chose that sentence. Rather large is in quotes, but it is not a quote. So it does not. So it's the quotation marks are imperative to the statement rather large, not to the sentence. So that's when the period goes outside the quotation marks. See? Sometimes it's just really using your head and problem solving about them. I don't know why I want to take off my glasses with this. I really like that a lot. I think I'm going to wear this one the rest of the time. Here's my outfit. I can't see. Need my glasses. A colon. Let's put the colon up there. I thought I had it. It's taking me a minute to get it up here. And this is appropriate for the colon to use red for the colon. A colon looks like one period on top of the other one. All right? That's what a colon looks like, a period on top of a period. And it indicates stop, hold on, just a minute, take note. Oh, am I on the wrong one? I am. Pay attention to what follows. Or it also might be a listing as well. Here are a list. That's a list. Here is a list. Oh my gosh. It is a list. Here, if I had it, here are the things you will need. That's what I'm going to do. Here are the things you will need for the first day of school. You see right there where I've got the R, that is grammatically incorrect because the subject is list. List. No. Yeah, list. List is the subject and list is singular, so that needs to be is. If I want to use are, what I would do is I would end up making sure that my subject is plural. So instead I would say here, and of course I forgot the verb. Here are the things you will need for your first day of school. You can see I was a little bit behind the 8 ball this morning because I was more worried about making sure it was cute. Here are the things you will need for the first day of school. And now pay attention to what follows because this is the list of the things that you need. And it's a list as well. So that's when we need a colon. Pens, pencils, paper, and a good attitude. Notice we have commas after the list there as well. A semicolon looks like a period on top of a comma. I've got this one. So a semicolon looks like a period on top of a comma. It's used to separate two independent clauses that are joined by a conjunction, or no conjunction there. No, or you could, or to make the sentence clearer when using numerous commas. Jenny didn't look too good today. She said she was coming down with something. There we have two independent clauses. I could have a period that separates them, but if it's not quite a complete stop, I'm continuing with the same thought. Sometimes what we do is we use what we call, what do I call it? What do we call that? Writers. I'm having writer's block right now. But that's not what we call it. Call it writer's sort of freedom, whatever. Writer's attitude that they have about it. Something like that. Writer's block is what I have. Because I'm all set and I don't want to go long. We start at 9 o'clock. Well, we're done at 9:45. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. I've gotten through most of my costumes for you. I'm probably going to have to repeat for our next classroom. What are we doing? The Bookless classroom. We're back to Reconstruction for the Bookless classroom. But if you didn't notice, eyeballs, check it out. Look at what we've got we've changed up a couple things. I've changed up a few titles that we have. Oh, look, we got through a lot of stuff today. We got through a lot of stuff, but didn't even talk about the fact that we diagrammed sentences last week, right? I can't believe I went all the way around instead of... Look at what we have today, just to let you know. So we're back on Reconstruction in our Bookless classroom, but we changed Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit classroom to Engaging a Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit, because I took out the classroom engagement and we're calling it DIY Psychologist. Why am I calling it DIY Psychologist? I've been wanting to use that name for a long time. And I tried to get some video for it. Like I have my Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit video, right? That I'm going to pull up in un momento. But I could not get $300 later and I still haven't gotten the video. Thanks, Fiverr. Thanks, Small Batharut. You jerk. And the other one, I forgot. Whatever the other one's name is. Made me very upset. Because I have this beautiful, it's almost all done. I have all the artwork and all they got to do is animate it, and they didn't animate it. Where I get up from a psychology session, I go, woo, and then walk outdoors and do my planting. So that's what we're doing. DIY Psychologist Classroom Engagement is now called DIY Psychologist. But look at what we have for DIY Psychologist. No, look at what we have for Engaging a Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit. The Godfather Coda, the death of Michael Corleone. What? Yeah, we keep it kicking here is what we do. We keep it kicking. Even if we are only talking about commas, colons, and semicolons, we keep it kicking. We keep our colons moving. That's what we do. We turn our semicolons into colons and we keep them moving. That's what we do. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. Happy Halloween. I am here as the teacher in the classroom. Thanks.